Guys, it's me, Shadow. And now these are my afterthoughts of uh Whispers from the Stars. This one's gonna be fast because there's not really much to talk about. This one's gonna be anyway. Um, let's get on now. What I think about the game. Now, as for going on the AI adventure with Stella, I have to say I'm actually kind of disappointed with Whisper of the Stars. I thought that because of the narrative, right, you can roleplay a lot with the game. But in all honesty, um, you can't really do much. I know the marketing for it is like, oh, you can talk to her about anything, and you know, and you can roleplay and spend and spawn your own narrative. I mean, they didn't outright say that, but that's what they kind of imply when you play the game, first play the game. But in actuality, when you actually play the game, you can't really role play that much. Um, and what you can do is actually highly limited. Li- is highly limited. And despite what the marketing said, it's actually just a very linear story. For example, for one thing, um, no matter what you role play, uh, unless you're role playing something on Earth, um, it's gonna fall apart fast. The reason why is because she doesn't. She never outright says this, but it's kind of hidden in the narrative. Is that her pod, in which you're talking to her, the Android pod, the one that does the video calls, is tracking you in terms of it knows it's telling her that the message is coming from Earth, right? So the endless amount of role playing that you can do is a straight up lie. It has to be something. The role playing has to involve Earth, or else it's not going to work. Um, or else it's not going to work. She's just going to use her drone, right? That's what the video calls essentially do, um, and lock you down as an Earthling. So you can't really so you can't play an alien or or a space droid or a space station or anything like that. You have to really actually have to play some type of form of Earthling, which kind of breaks the narrative that they said that you could do anything and role play anything, right? Um, right. So that kind of breaks it. Now, Stella has a now. Now Stella does have a good memory and she'll bring up stuff you talked about. The problem with this is that it only relies on the specific vehicle that you're in, right? Right. Once that vehicle is over, she her memory kind of resets, right? And the only way you can kind to keep the role playing going is you have to is you have to remind her, you have to constantly remind her of the narrative that you set up, uh, for her to remember it past one call. For example, during my playthrough, Stella confessed her love to me, right? And so I was like, okay, so I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna give her a ring or anything, right? Because she's out in space and it's physically impossible to do that, right? And she was being very serious about it. And then at the end of the game, I bring it up again, right? Right? Up again, and she seems to have completely forgotten that we had that conversation. And so I brought the space husband thing, right? Her being her husband or her loved one, and she seems to have forgotten that, right? So I joked about it, right? Like I joked about I call her I'll be her space husband, and and giving into recurring her that I like her too, I guess, right? And so then that was the beginning of the game, right? Or middle of the game, and then, so I brought it back at the near the end of the game, right? And and at the beginning of the game, she took it very seriously, but at the end of the game, she took it as more of a joke, right? Joke, and she didn't really seem to remember it. So so unless you're bringing it up constantly, you can't really spin a narrative. At least from my experience. Um, so guiding Stella through Gaia, the planet that she's currently lost lost on, is really the only thing you can do. Anything else will get shut down, uh, either immediately or at the end of the call. Because the video calls can last anywhere from believe 30 to 45 minutes. Now, some depending on the topics, it can get shut down. Um, Down immediately. Video calls can be shut down immediately, which I didn't like. And even the freedom I feel is uh, kind of a lie slash exaggeration. It really there's not really much to now. I do because Scylla is heavily centered, right? Now for mental health reasons, I understand this. I really do, right? So it doesn't bother me that much, right? Right. So right. So the censorship doesn't really bother me, um, right? Right. So because I get it, mental health and the suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. So I understand that level of censorship. I really do. But then there's the uh, I don't know if I should say naughty or sexual. Obviously, because I don't know how the YouTube wording is, but like so the suicidal stuff I understand, right? Mental health important. They want to make sure that uh, the AI doesn't say anything that could, I guess, trigger you in a negative way, right? So I understand. So I understand that level of censorship. I really do. Now there is also some sexual censorship, which I do understand. I totally get why. They want to keep it, PG-13, I guess, and I totally get that. But there are workarounds the censorship. There is workarounds of the censorship. Um, Now I haven't like seen all that stuff myself. Like I haven't experimented myself. Some of the stuff I have heard and read through other people's discussion of the game. But I heard there is some workarounds with it, which is a little because surprising because I thought like if they're going to censor it for mental health and all other and to block out the perverts, um, which I totally understand. I don't really like it because I not not so that because you can't sexualize Stella. That's not the reason why. It's just I don't like it because of the freedom that they said that you could have with her, which again, uh, I don't mind having a linear story with Stella. I don't mind it. It's just that that's not what they offered in terms of marketing, right? They said you can role play and do all those stuff with her, and you know. So, but but if they were honest and open about the linear story and just had uh and you just guiding to her with or like if they were honest about it, like the linearity of the story, and you just um like you can say what you want, but like you can say it differently. You can get her through each scenario or each map you go through differently, which is all that really is, right? Um, which is all it really is. It's like, for example, there's a medic pod, right? That happens. Now there's two ways for you to get through this scenario. One is, I think the first or second map, during the second map, you get the key card, right? And you swipe the key card to get into it. The second scenario to get into the medic's um, pod is to find a latch at the back of the pod that opens the pod. Now, the right. So there are multiple ways you can handle a scenario, but despite the multiple ways, there's really only like one or two scenarios that you can do. So despite the infinite freedom they advertise, there's really just one linear story. So you can't really role play. You can't really do anything. You just guide Stella to point A to point B, and um, how you do it is up to you. Even though the situations are very linear. Like the answers is like only one or two answers, but how you come to that answer is up to you based on how you talk to her and all that stuff. Which I guess in a sense you're getting the freedom that they promise, but not really because you can never shake her off the mission. Her point is to get to the base uh, at Mount Gaia, not Mount Gaia. I don't know, I can't remember. Hermes Mountain. But I don't know if that's the name of the base or the mountain. But anyway, the point is that Settler's ultimate objective is to reach that base, right? So she can get on the ship and get off the planet. Or not, depending on what you do. Right? But so despite the infinite freedom and talking to this AI and unscripted stuff, in the end, it's just a story. Point A to getting her to point A to point B. But how you go about it is up to you. 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 And the answers are only A and B, but again, how you reach there is also up to you. So instead of feeling like an open AI adventure, it's just a very deceptive FMV game, in my opinion. Right? And then there is endless mode where you just if you like the video calls and the short memory stuff, you can keep doing it. Uh, it's if you get Stella to go off the planet, the story ends, which is what I believe is the canon ending. And then if you don't leave her on the planet, at least endless mode where you can just continually where she stays on the planet and you just voice chat her, you know, once every couple of hours. Yeah. Okay. So I think that covers every. I think that covers much the thoughts for Whisper of the Stars. So I'll be here. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.